That name sounds more like a street troublemaker than someone who has the right to stand here. The icy voice cut across the hall, leaving a heavy void in its wake. Short, sharp bursts of laughter rang out, each like a needle pricking skin. In the mind's eye, the camera swept over mocking faces, interspersed with a few frowns. On the competition stage, Cale stood upright, his shadow stretching long across the lit floor. His hand clenched the paper tightly, holding back the tremor from showing. In the seats below, a pair of hesitant eyes wavered slightly. The air was thick. One uneven breath could shatter everything in a way no one could stop. Warm, golden light filled the small room behind the stage. Judge Evelyn stood close to her son, her hand straightening his collar. She asked softly, "Do you know what Cale means?" "Warrior," he answered firmly. "That's right. And stand like a warrior, even when they haven't recognized you yet." Her words echoed like a slow drumbeat, settling deep in his mind. The muffled sound of footsteps and laughter from outside the studio seeped in, breaking the stillness. The warm moment faded, pulling Cale back to the present. On stage, his eyes stayed fixed forward. No lowering, no stepping back. Ms. Whitmore walked slowly toward the stage, her eyes sweeping over the answer sheet in Cale's hand. "Didn't expect you could spell this word without help," she said, drawing out her tone, smooth but with a hidden needle. In the audience, a parent leaned toward another and whispered, "Probably just a diversity quota." The words weren't loud enough for the whole room, but Cale felt them. He kept his back straight, lips pressed together, eyes unwavering. Scattered laughter lingered in the air, clinging to the space as if testing how long he could endure before something cracked. Suddenly, Miss Whitmore snatched the answer sheet from Cale's hand. The paper's edge grazed his skin, leaving a stinging burn. A thin drop of blood welled up and fell onto the polished floor. The hall froze, the noise vanishing for several breaths. Cale didn't look down, nor at the wound. He inhaled deeply, his free hand tightening slightly at his side, keeping himself steady. Overhead light caught the drop of red, making it stand out like an unerasable mark, a reminder that a line had just been crossed. A photograph slid from Cale's folder, falling to the floor and drifting forward. It stopped right at Ms. Whitmore's heel. She bent down, picking it up without thinking. Her eyes paused when she saw the image of a judge's chair, the backrest engraved clearly with the name Evelyn Cale. A ripple of murmurs spread through the hall, filled with unspoken questions. Ms. Whitmore tilted slightly, quickly hiding the photo behind her back, as if she had never seen it. No one in the room knew that a crucial piece of the puzzle had just surfaced. A guest professor from the judges' panel stood up, his voice ringing clear. "Look up the meaning of the name Cale." The large screen behind them lit up, each word appearing slowly. Warrior, brave one. Silence thickened, heavy enough to touch. A few people in the hall lowered their heads, avoiding each other's eyes. Among the contestants, a young girl smiled at Cale, a small smile, but full of support. Cale said nothing, only kept his shoulders square, as though each word on the screen had just spoken for him. The studio doors swung open, the creak of the hinges ringing clear. White light from outside flooded in, slicing through the heavy air. A figure appeared in the doorway, standing tall and still for a few seconds. The silhouette of Judge Evelyn was sharp in every line. Her heels struck the floor in even, firm beats, echoing across the quiet space. Miss Whitmore stiffened slightly, tilting her head for a clearer view. Several cameras swung toward her, capturing every expression. In the audience, whispers spread quickly. "Who is that?" No one had an answer, but all eyes were fixed on the doorway. Judge Evelyn walked straight to the MC's podium, placing a thick file on the desk. Her voice was calm but decisive. "Read the sponsorship line on page 1. The MC faltered, eyes dropping to the page, stammering, $550 million from your office." Evelyn kept her gaze fixed on Ms. Whitmore. "And yes, Cale is my son. Today, I'm withdrawing that sponsorship." A collective gasp erupted, reverberating through the hall. Miss Whitmore stepped back, her hand gripping the edge of the paper, her face stripped of its usual confidence. Applause broke out from the contestants' seats, starting with a small girl. The rhythm spread quickly, pulling the whole hall into unison. Cale walked slowly to the center of the stage, bent down to pick up the photo, and placed it neatly on the podium. His voice rang clear, each word steady. "You said my name wasn't fit for a scholar, but I just won your game." The sound in the room seemed to slow, leaving only the rush of applause. Ms. Whitmore lowered her head, avoiding their gaze. Judge Evelyn stood silently behind her son, not giving Miss Whitmore so much as a glance. Judge Evelyn stepped closer, her hands gently straightening her son's collar. Her voice was low but firm. "You stood like one." Cale smiled for the first time since stepping on stage. The scene shifted to a few weeks later in the studio's main hall. On the large wall, Cale's photo hung in a place of honor. In it, he stood tall, holding his name tag, eyes bright yet calm. Beneath it was an engraved line. He didn't change his name. He changed the room. A warm narration filled the air. In a world quick to judge and slow to listen, sometimes the greatest strength is to stand still and let the truth carry.